Welcome to this CalRTA short tutorial. My name is Sue Breyer, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to be scam savvy. Now, my goal in this video is threefold. Number one, to increase your awareness about some of the various online and phone scams, especially targeting seniors. Number two, to provide examples of each of these scams. And number three, to provide suggestions on how to avoid these scams or what to do if you fall victim. So let's get going. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center offers some startling statistics from 2020 regarding victims over 60 years old. Losses tripled from 2015 to 2020 for this particular demographic, with $1 billion in losses. Now, the number of victims doubled in the same time period, with over 105,000 victims. 28% of all losses were in the 60-plus age group, with an average loss of over $9,000. California holds the prestigious title of being number one in victims and number one in total losses, with the most common scam being the tech support scam, which is also number two. So why target seniors? Well, many victims are widows or widowers and vulnerable to social interaction as a result of their isolation and sometimes their loneliness. Their financial situations are actually usually pretty stable and lucrative, and their pensions, their savings accounts, other government benefits make them more generous with their money. Seniors are often more trusting, having grown up in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, when we didn't lock the doors to our homes or our cars. And as many of us know, most seniors are not terribly tech savvy and are often confused with issues that arise on their computers or smartphones. Seniors are also prime targets because of their assumed cognitive decline, as many experience general forgetfulness. Others, however, suffer from dementia and even Alzheimer's, which puts them at a much greater risk. The most common component in various scams is what we call phishing, with a PH at the beginning, which is a technique involving credit cards, banks, emails, and websites. Now, the intent is to steal user data, login credentials, passwords, credit card numbers, or other personal information by creating platforms that look like genuine, trusted companies. Scammers imitate the format, the appearance, the logos, and the branding of reputable countries, and then they lure people into providing personal details and private information. Now, as consumers, we must look closely at suspicious communications and websites. They often include common elements, especially links that, when clicked on, will often take you to phishing or fake websites. Let's begin with credit card phishing. Now, as you can see this in this example here on the right-hand side, scammers disguise or spoof an email, message, or website, making it look legitimate. Let's focus specifically on the red arrows and the red box on the screen. So this email is supposedly from Chase Bank. Now, the logo here looks legitimate, but actually that's all. Check where it's from up here. admin@vagaro.com. Now, does that sound like a Chase website to you? There's no personal greeting here at the beginning, simply "Dear Customer." Well, that's pretty safe. Its intent is to generate alarm. As you can see here, there's been unusual activity on your card. Now, the listed transactions here are actually bogus, so you're not going to recognize them. You are, however, in this red box, prompted to choose yes or no to indicate if you recognize those transactions that are listed. However, either button is going to lead to a spoofed website. So basically, it's a lose-lose situation. So what do? You call the Chase Bank directly, or you log on to your account, your actual Chase account, and you check it out. Don't click buttons, don't click links, and don't call any phone numbers in an email such as this. Now, bank phishing is very similar to credit card phishing. As with credit card phishing, scammers will disguise or spoof an email, a text message, or a website, making it look like it represents a legitimate bank, your bank. Now, the example here on the right is a rather poorly constructed phishing attempt if you look closely at the email. First of all, at a quick glance, this Bank of America logo right here looks okay, but if you take a look at what the real logo looks like here on the right, you'll be able to see the difference. You may also notice that the title is Bank of Americans. Now, that should be an immediate clue. The email does not address you by name, just like in the other example, but uses a generic salutation. Dear online banking customer. This one even includes a click here link to begin an account verification process, but never, ever, ever click a link like this in an email. Now, the example on the left right over here is an actual text message that I received on my phone from supposedly Chase Bank. Now, notice that it includes a link, but no other identifying information from the bank. And just as with the link in the Bank of America email on the right, do not click a link from a bank. Banks do not send links like this via email or text message. So what should you do? Well, call your bank immediately to report the attempted scam, or log on to your bank account to check on it. Do not click links. Do not call phone numbers. If you receive a text message, you can actually reply to that text message with 7726, which spells spam on your keypad. Email phishing is very, very common. And probably like yours, my spam folder collects 10 to 15 of these bogus emails almost every day. Now, this example on the right was an actual phishing attempt sent to a friend of ours using my husband's name. Now, our friend almost fell for it. She saw a familiar name up here at the top from Ron Breyer, president, at the top here, and signed down here at the bottom, Ron Breyer, president. Now, the subject up here at the top is actually pretty legitimate. California Retired Teachers Association. It even included a personal, accurate salutation, Kathy. It was actually delivered to Kathy O'Leary. But it was the content right here that seemed a bit odd to her. His request to her to purchase gift cards to donate to veterans at hospice and palliative care units seemed a bit off. This gift card scam, by the way, is one of the most popular and lucrative scams on the internet. But if you look closely, you're going to see a couple other things here. Up at the top, the from at the top is not actually a CalRTA email or a typical personal email domain, such as Yahoo or Google. The wording in the email down here is awkward and filled with poor grammar. And again, the request to purchase gift cards is always, always a dead giveaway. So don't fall for it. Now, this slide shows an actual email that I received from a familiar name, a CalRTA colleague, but everything else on here is bogus. Her email up at the top right here is an exceptionally strange compilation of letters, and the email also includes a link down here with a rather obscure comment right here. I'm hoping my message is still on time. There's no closing, no signature, no name at the bottom. Now, the scammer wants only to get you to click on this link, which would probably take you to a bogus website or infect your computer with malware or random viruses. Don't click any links in an email such as this. Report the email as spam and delete it. Now, website phishing scams involve a spoofed website. Oftentimes, you're taken to a phishing website by clicking on a link, usually in an email, claiming that there's a problem with an order or a purchase that you've made. Now, the spoofed website can look very much like the real deal, as in this example. Now, up here, the Amazon logo looks like the real deal. The website setup is fairly familiar with Amazon colors and other details. But if you look at the URL in the red box up here at the top, if you look closely, this is from AmazonX.com, not Amazon.com. This one is also asking for your login credentials right smack in the middle of the page. So ask yourself, is this how I normally sign into Amazon? And there are also 6 different blue links on this spoofed website, any of which, if you click on them, would infect or could infect your computer or lead you to a different phishing site. Now, this website tries to make you feel safe and comfortable by urging you to sign in using their secure server. Don't fall for it. So what should you do? Open a new tab on your device and log into the real Amazon.com website, just as you usually do. Contact the company directly and report the phishing attempt. So let's change course a little bit and take a look at government imposter scams. Now, nearly 500,000 imposter scams were reported in just 2020, with 20% of those who were contacted losing money. In 2020 alone, the overall loss was $1.2 billion, with the median loss over $800. Now, 1/3 of the scams were involving somebody posing as a government representative in a text, a call, or an email. Now, both Social Security and IRS scams are conducted by phone call, text, email, and sometimes even through postal mail. The scammers will claim to be an employee in the Social Security Administration or with the IRS, perhaps even an attorney for the government agency. They'll say that they have discovered improper or illegal activity with your Social Security number or your account, or they're calling to collect on an unpaid tax bill that is owed the IRS. They'll threaten to freeze your Social Security payments. They'll threaten to arrest you, deport you, or even take legal action if you don't do as they say immediately. They will often ask you to confirm your Social Security number or other personal information. They'll want you to pay with a money transfer, a gift card, with cryptocurrency, or even with cash. But don't do it. Hang up the phone, delete the email, call the Social Security Administration directly, or call the IRS. Report the scam to the Office of the Inspector General, down here, or to the Federal Trade Commission using the email down here. Here we have the infamous sweepstakes and lottery scams. You check your email's inbox and you discover that you have won the Nigerian lottery, the Irish sweepstakes, or the Mega Millions drawing. The only problem is you never entered the drawing. So these scammers will spoof a familiar website, use familiar logos and icons, flashing signs, loud advertisements, and even pop-up ads. Now, as you can see in this example, they've incorporated the McAfee logo up here, the FedEx logo down here, Visa and MasterCard logos, and the Mega Millions logo right here at the top. But look at the URL at the top of the page. Official site 0204.buzz. Now the real site for the Mega Millions sweepstakes is actually megamillions.com. But there's always a catch. You'll be asked to pay upfront taxes or fees to release your winnings, or money will be deposited directly into your bank. So you'll need to provide them with your account number and your routing number. Now, in this case, you must choose how you want to receive your $1 million in winnings. And you have two options. You're going to click here to transfer your bank card, transfer the money to the bank card, or you're going to click here to get it in cash with a cash transfer. Now, whichever one that you click on will most likely lead to a malicious site or ask you to provide personal credentials. And there's always a sense of urgency. Be cautious. The romance scam is especially brutal. It's a manipulation of the heart, and it often targets widows and widowers. It's one of the most lucrative scams around, especially when it involves senior citizens. In 2020 alone, nearly 7,000 seniors reported falling victim to this scam, with over $280 million in losses. It often starts with unreliable online dating sites. The person on the other side of the computer screen builds trust over time. Usually their face is never shown, and the victim falls in love even before meeting the person. Now, the scammer is going to ask for money. They've run into financial troubles. Their child or their grandchild needs emergency surgery. They've fallen into serious debt through no fault of their own, or they need you to help them front money for a big project, but they promise to pay you back. So you send money via a wire transfer at their request. Time passes. You want to meet them face to face. However, they can't meet you. They're working overseas, or they're in the middle of a top security project. Well, this goes on for months, even years, and the requests for money continue. Some victims have refinanced their homes, drained their bank accounts, and lost their life savings. So what do? Do your research. Stay in touch with family. Ask them for advice. Check with somebody close to you. Run those ideas by them. If you use an online dating company, make sure that they are registered with the Better Business Bureau. Don't just find some random site on the internet. You too could get burned by this scam. The grandparent scam is fairly new, but like the romance scam, it's effective because it manipulates the heart and it takes advantage of trusting and loving seniors. In grandparent scams, the scammer will pose as panicked grandchildren or children in trouble, calling or sending messages urging you to wire money immediately. They never say their name in a phone call, but they will say, "Hi, Grandma," or "Hi, Grandpa, do you know who this is?" And when you try to guess their name, they'll take the clue and run with it. They'll say that they need cash to help with an emergency, like paying a hospital bill, or they need to leave a foreign country, or even they need bail to get out of jail. They pull at your heartstrings so they can trick you into sending money before you even realize it's a scam. Now, a spin-off of this scam is the virtual kidnapping for ransom extortion scheme. Much more sinister in many ways. You receive a call with a voice screaming on the other end, "Mommy, Daddy, Grandma, Grandpa, help me, help me." And the caller is counting on you to blurt out the name of your child or your grandchild, and then a new voice will come on with a threat We'll kill or maim or deliver your child to a cartel unless you do immediately what we tell you to do. So what do you do in this case? Well, don't engage. Hang up the phone. Call the child or the parent of the child directly. Do not send any money or give any private information out at all. Report the fraud to the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, and to the FBI in the case of the virtual kidnapping scheme. Online shopping scams are much more prevalent since the COVID lockdown spurred an increase in online shopping. In 2020, over 50,000 cases of online retail fraud were reported globally. Now, much of this fraud involved the spoofing of legitimate websites and offering tremendous discounts that are obviously too good to be true. So let's take a look. Most online shopping fraud is via Facebook Marketplace and Instagram ads offering counterfeit items, gift cards, bait and switch techniques, and broken products. More than 1 billion users buy and sell goods on Facebook Marketplace every month. So beware. On Facebook Marketplace, for instance, you'll find sponsored sites mixed in with legitimate sellers. Now, these sponsored sites, as you can see on the left, advertise great deals on virtually any product that you might want. You click on an ad and you are often taken to a spoofed website like this one on the left where you make the purchase. Now, as you can see on the left, this item is supposedly from Wayfair. Okay, you have the icon up here in the middle. But the URL at the top of the page says Silver Sock Shop. Well, that does not sound like Wayfair. Now, the 5-piece set that you see here is listed as $89, reduced from $299.99. Well, I looked up this set on Wayfair's actual website, but they didn't carry it. Surprise, surprise. So I tried looking for it at Home Depot, as you can see over here on the right. Now, the image here is from Home Depot's website, advertising the exact same set for $3,099. Clearly, this $89 set on the left is a scam. So here's the lesson if you use Facebook Marketplace. Pay only with Facebook's official channels, PayPal, or Facebook checkout. Pick up the item in person. Do not have it mailed to you. Check the quality of the item before taking full possession of it. Beware of counterfeit items. If the price is too good to be true, as the item on the left, it is. And do not make any advanced payments. The tech support scam is the #1 scam targeting seniors. Now, this scam surprises you with pop-up windows and loud noises to create an instant, immediate dread. You might see the words error, error, suspicious activity, spyware detected, you've been hacked, flashing on your screen. The scammers will use familiar logos like the Microsoft logo in this message, and the intent is to terrify you or frustrate you so much that you'll call the support number right now to solve the problem. Well, if you do call, they may ask to ghost your computer. In other words, to take over your computer from a remote location. They'll run a diagnostic test, supposedly, and of course, they'll show you a fake screen with proof of viruses. But they can fix it for a fee. They'll try to sell you a support plan or a new warranty. They'll get you to download more software, which will likely infect your computer. So what do you do? Well, don't click on the links on the screen. Do not call the phone number on the screen. Nobody but you knows if your computer has a virus. Think about that. Turn off your computer and then reboot it. That's usually all it takes. Then run a virus scan and update your security software. Too late? You've already fallen for it? You've made that phone call? Well, you're going to have to change all of your passwords, report the scam to your bank, and then to the FTC or even the FBI, and call a reputable company to have your computer checked, like the Geek Squad, Apple, or Microsoft. So what can you do to avoid a scam? Well, first of all, block those unwanted calls that come in. You can actually set your phone to silently block phone calls that do not have a name attached to them. You can also block text messages that you don't want. With phone calls, if the topic is that important, the person calling will leave a message for you. Number two, don't give out personal or financial information. Don't give out login information. In some of these scams, that's exactly how they steal your identity. Three, if you receive an unsolicited email or text, don't click any of those links that are embedded in those emails or texts. Don't call the 800 numbers or any of those phone numbers either that are in those emails or texts. Call the company or the business directly and report it as fraud. Number four, resist the pressure to act immediately. We make mistakes when we do something rushed like that. That's exactly what the scammers want you to do. Think about it first. Hang up the phone. Get out of that email quickly, but don't act immediately. Know how scammers tell you to pay. They're going to ask for gift cards, money transfers, prepaid debit cards, and even cash and cryptocurrency sometimes. And finally, scrutinize and look closely at strange or suspicious emails or text messages, especially URLs and email addresses. So if you have experienced any of these scams, you can report your experiences to the Federal Trade Commission. You can call the number on the screen, or you can go to reportfraud.ftc.gov. Thank you for joining me for another CalRTA tutorial. As always, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to contact me at calrta.ctc@gmail.com. I hope to see you again soon.